Hello, welcome to Undisputed Boxing. We're here to discuss the Matchroom card from last night. Joshua Buatsi makes his return after beating Mark Kalic last October, I think it was, against Dos Santos. Obviously, this was an opponent that was probably a little bit ridiculed at the time that it was scheduled, me included. I'm here with Rick. If you're new to the channel, we're trying to grow a bit of a community, so thanks to everybody for sharing the videos. We've had quite a lot of new subscribers, so thanks everybody for subscribing. Rick, what did you make of Buatsi's performance last night against Dos Santos?
Yeah, pretty similar to his normal performances, really. I know his last fight he was quite frustrated. He had to grit his teeth and kind of come through it. This was a little bit more straightforward. Starts off like he normally does, very purposeful, come forward, uses that spearing jab, just switches into a very aggressive mode, doesn't he? He's a very calm, cool customer, but then just gets ultra aggressive as soon as that bell goes. So the start was, normal, and then it got a bit fruity, after in rounds 2 or 3, I think. I mean, and the guy Dos Santos went down, I think, in the second. Seemed to be a bit of a nothingness, really. And I remember thinking, oh, don't tell me someone that's going to go down just from being clipped slightly, because he went down quite easy. But then there was a bit of wrestling going on. You saw Buatsi seemed to, that he flipped again a little bit. Going from like nice guy to bad guy, and then took him out, I think, in the 4th round. Great finish, well, brutal finish actually. Showed him like the body with the eyes, and then went up top. And that would have knocked a lot of people out, that shot. So so not knowing much about Santos, it's hard to judge, and he's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those fights where you'll look back maybe in a few years' time and go, actually, that was a really good win, because maybe Dos Santos went on to do other things. I do still think Buatsi is a bit erratic, and he does see red quite easily, and he did get clipped a couple of times, and maybe he knows he's got a very good chin. I don't know. He does take a few risks, and I just worry he ain't got the greatest of head movement, though his defense is okay, but his head movement isn't. And one day he's going to get clipped coming in, and he's going to struggle to recover. I don't know. I think that's one thing I'd want to see a bit more of. Yeah. And maybe he just thinks I can take risk at this level. I'm not sure, but he'll have to adjust a bit more as he goes through the levels.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was never really going to be able to give him much higher than a C+ on this performance, just because of the opponent. I was really hoping, and I've been getting a little bit frustrated with Buatsi, because I just feel like his progress has been stifled a little bit, whether that's been through injury. I do hear that he doesn't like to fight on, if he's not 100%, he just doesn't fight. He kind of graduated the same time as Josh Kelly, and Josh Kelly, although he's been beat, he's kind of visibly gone through the levels, in his respective weight division, whereas Buatsi just feels like they're taking a long time to get there. So I do think that he needs to really kind of step up. But I mean, I was pretty impressed. We all know that he's got a fantastic jab. He's very slick. He moves in and out of range really comfortably. He does tend to kind of like rush his work a little bit, and he can get a little bit erratic. I think that as well. He's got a good chin. Obviously, he got clipped quite a few times in his last fight against Kalic. Yeah, I think all in all, I mean, we didn't really learn, that much. I don't think. I would like to see him out, because he didn't really get sort of tested too much. Hopefully he can maybe get out again for fight camp, or, in at least a couple of months, and then maybe another fight sort of towards the end of the year.
I think that's the plan from what I heard, probably a headline fight camp in like August, and then get out again. It's getting those levels in between what he's fought and, not going all the way to the top. One thing I felt that was a bit strange was, though I suppose I get the logic, is what's his new trainer called?
Jill Hunter. Yeah, what do you make of that link up?
Hard to say at the moment. I mean, in theory, it could be a good link up, because, obviously he trained Ward, and Ward was very calculated. He wasn't erratic. He was very, chess game like. But he could also handle himself and that. And so, he does fit the temperament, I suppose, or part of him fits the temperament. But the area where he's probably got to work on is the erraticness, which I think, you never saw that from Ward. So it could work. And I think it's always good for, boxers to move around a little bit at the right stage, and it's probably at the right stage to move around. The only downside on this is that Virgil was saying, "Oh, in the next 2 years he'll be, he'll be right for a world title." But that's Virgil Hunter probably protecting his own kind of record, where he doesn't want to put. He's only just started working with him. He wants more time with him before putting him in really big fights.
Yeah.
But for us, we might, I think they can get away with this year, but next year people are going to be wanting to see him go for a world title.
Yeah, I think next year world title. I think this year a big domestic showdown with maybe like a Craig Spider Richards, or I think Callum Johnson, Lyndon Arthur, and Anthony Yard. I don't think they happen at all because they're all on the Queensbury side. So I just don't see them being realistic.
The Richards fights was interesting because again that was mentioned yesterday, and Hearn does his thing as he'll never say no, but he'll kind of smooth over it very quickly. So someone said, "Oh, even the Richards fights." He goes, "Yeah, that would be a good fight." Or so and so, you know what I mean? He quickly moves on to someone else. You know what I mean? So it's almost like he doesn't want to put him in with Craig Richards yet, and maybe that's because he thinks he can get more mileage out of Richards.
Possibly, but I actually think that's the perfect fight for him next. Craig Richards has just he's done 12 rounds with Dimitri Bivol. Gave a very good account of himself. If Buatsi kind of runs through him in 8 or 9 rounds, then we kind of know that where he's at.
But maybe that's the fight for the winter actually, because maybe Richards would be like, well, I've just come off a defeat, can at least get a win under my belt and go in for Buatsi. So I can see as a promoter, Hearn might be like, right, well, it makes sense for Buatsi, but maybe not for Richards, and but you're right, that would be the level. I mean, I wouldn't have said that a while ago because I was surprised how well Richards did against Bivol. Having said that, Bivol was surprised me how small Bivol was.
Yeah, I thought that. He is small.
Richards. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't think there was no surprises in it, and it was a great finish. I mean, the guy was absolutely devastated afterwards. And I don't know if that was a kind of a neurological thing because he'd been banjoed, or he actually thought he had a chance of winning, and was absolutely, devastated. Like I said, I think we'll see that might turn out to be a lot better win than we think, because he didn't look terrible. He looked like he knew what he was going to do in there. And he did. Yeah. I think he kept changing to southpaw a bit.
Yeah.
I did worry, like I said, when he went down early, because someone can be very talented, but they just seem to be able to find the canvas very easily, And I thought, maybe this is it, because he looked quite competent. But then when he went down really easy, I remember thinking, oh, this is why they've picked him. But then he carried on, but there was no getting up from that shot that he got dropped with.
No, it's devastating.
Did you see any of the card? Because I only saw the main event.
I did, yeah. I saw the Gamal, Yafai, and Jason Cunningham fight. That was probably the fight of the night, I think. Gamal Yafai had a terrible first half of the fight. He came into the second half, but the first half he got dropped, I think, 3 times. So he had
Did you hear what Hearn said?
10-8 rounds. No.
Because that was a fight of the year contender. He did say that in an IFL interview. How many times has he said that?
So that was a pretty disappointing performance from Yafai. I'm not sure where he goes from there. But Jason Cunningham, he looked really good, very slick. Southpaw. Just kept on clipping him with his left hand like all night. He was just finding it. Gamal Yafai did knock Cunningham down, I think, in the 10th round. So there was a bit of a run towards the end of the fight, but he was already quite far behind. So Lerrone Richards, who I've been quite impressed with, he pretty much a shutout against his opponent. I'm forgetting his name now. I'm still not really sold on Lerrone Richards. He's very, very slick, very easy on the eye. He's kind of a boxer's boxer. He has awesome head movement, footwork. He just doesn't really have any power. I think from his 14 fights, he's only knocked out 3. And they're talking about if they can try and train him to sit on his shots and all that kind of stuff. I just don't, the power's either there or it's not. And if you haven't found it in your first 14 fights, I just don't know, at that super middleweight division, to win a world title, he's going to have some power. I just don't, I'm not really sure what route he goes down.
I did see the last couple of rounds of that fight, and I saw the interview after, and he was being asked about his power, and he was like, believe me, the power's there. But he's always going to say that. I mean, sometimes people, sometimes people's knockout ratios go up later in the career, and it's not because they can hit harder. It's just more one, their technique improves, and two, they can find cleaner shots because of their increased skill set. So I've not watched enough of him, but sometimes people's knockout ratios are poor when they're coming through the ranks because they're struggling to find a clean shot. But then it depends the quality that they're fighting. If they're fighting crap, they should be able to find clean shots with them. So it just depends how many times you caught real flush.
Yeah.
It's like Ruiz, really. You look at Ruiz and you go out. He knocked down Joshua. How could he not do it with Areola? Areola has been beaten, but he's not got a weak chin. But I've never felt that Ruiz caught him hugely cleanly, and vice versa, really.
Yeah.
Like he caught AJ, and AJ was just wide open and boom.
Yeah, so we'll see. Interesting to see where he goes next. But I think that's it in terms of the results. Just quickly, actually, we haven't covered this yet, but Liam Smith has lost last weekend, last Friday. Have you had a chance to see that fight yet?
I've heard about it, and I heard that people see he was unlucky. But I think if you're going to go and fight in Russia, you've got to go and win clearly. And how clearly was it? I don't know. Yeah,
against Kurbanov. I did watch the fight. I probably did give it just slightly to Liam Smith. It wasn't like a clear win. But that Kurbanov, I think, is going to cause some problems in the light middleweight division. Very un-Russian-like. He's kind of a slick mover, really good jab, really good feet. In and out. Very kind of un-Russian-like. But I think he's going to cause some problems.
Was it for a shot at a title?
I think it was for the vacant WBO International. So
I don't know what that means nowadays, but
I know. I think it's kind of a mandatory position, isn't it? Kind of for the WBO.
Yeah, I mean, it's mandatory is worth more than one of these random belts. You know what I mean? Don't know how long White's been carrying around a WBC strap, but it's never really got him anywhere.
I know, yeah. Well, WBC, I think, is another conversation for another time.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's wrap it up. We'll do another video on the big one next weekend: Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez. Thanks to everybody for listening. All right.